Everyone, it's Emily. Welcome back on my channel. Today's video is going to be my March TBR. Those are the books that I am hoping to read this month. Last month was so bad. Actually, so far the year hasn't been so great reading wise, so I decided, you know what? I will stop trying to follow some rules, because first month of the year I was trying to read shorter books that were on my TBR, and then last month I tried to read a few romance books, and things haven't been going so great. So this month, you know what? I am not following any or very little rules, because I do not want to start being in a reading slump, because I can just feel it trying to sneak up on me. So those are all books that I am incredibly excited to read. Most of them, all of them, are fantasy sci-fi, with one exception, so it's gonna be a good month. The first book I am hoping to be done whenever the video goes up, because I have not a lot left. Like, I'm so close to being done, and it is The Hearth of Betrayal by Mary E. Pearson. This is the second book in the Remnant Chronicles, and if you don't know, the first book is A Kiss of Deception, where you're following a princess. She escapes the day of her wedding, and there's two men going after her. There is an assassin that is sent to kill her, and the princess she was supposed to marry, and you don't know who is who, and I've been loving it. It is definitely a romance with a fantasy world and not the opposite, but I'm loving it so far. So the second book just arrived, and actually, by the way, you're probably going to see a lot of these books in my next book haul, because I didn't post one in February, and I've been like hoarding books ever since Christmas, and there's a huge one coming up after this video, and most of these will be in there. I'm so excited to read them that I just needed to include all of them, so don't worry if you see them pop up in the next video. But this is A Conjuring of Light by V.E. Schwab. This is the last book in the Shade of Magic trilogy, and just arrived today, and it was late. I was supposed to receive it last Thursday, and it never showed up. Didn't show up on Friday, so not good. As soon as I'm done with this book, I am reading this. I'm so excited. I love the first book, adored the second one, and at this point I'm a little scared the third one is not gonna, like, be as good, but holy moly, have you seen the size of this thing? There's over 600 pages. I didn't expect this, but this is the type of book that you can fly through, because the chapters are really short, which love when they do that. I just feel like the story just keeps, moving. This is an adult fantasy book with very, very little romance, which is always awesome. People can either control one aspect of magic, one of the elements, and then there's people that are able to control everything and travel between 4 different Londons. So basically it's awesome, and I cannot wait. Seriously, I am so excited to read this. Plus the cover is so beautiful. I really love those covers. I'm including it in here because I'm sure I'm going to want to continue as soon as I'm done. This is the second book in the trilogy, the Remnant Chronicles. This is the third one, and once again, holy moly, this thing is big. There's almost 700 pages, so I'm going to be reading some pretty big books, so I don't know how many I'm going to actually be able to read. Like last month I read 13, but they weren't this big, so we'll see. But I want to just put them all in my TBR because I'm hoping I'm going to read them all. And this one is the third book, like I said. This is The Beauty of Darkness, and I cannot wait to know how everything ends, because I have been wanting to read this book for so long. So obviously, whenever you see it in my next haul, I hauled it. And this is The First 15 Lives of Harry August by Claire North. This book, you're following Harry August, and he lives his life and then dies, and then he starts all over again. And at one point, like 12, I believe it's 12th time, and then someone comes up to him and lets him know that like the world is ending and they need him to, fix everything. And for some reason, I really, really like those type of books where like person dies and then they like start over. I'm fascinated. I definitely want to read this book. I'm really hoping it's gonna live up to my expectations, because they've been like getting higher and higher. And if I don't love it, I'm gonna be really disappointed. But I've been meaning to read all of her books, because every time she comes out with like really interesting premises, which I'm all about. So if you have read this book or any of her other books, let me know, because I want to read them. I'm realizing that all my books are in my next book haul, so there's going to be a lot of repeats. I'm sorry, but I have heard so many great reviews about this book. The second one just came out too. This is The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers, and I am so interested in reading this book. I've heard so many great things. I know it's a YA sci-fi book. It's really character driven, and that's all I know. I don't like to know too much when I go into books, so one book that isn't sci-fi or fantasy, it's a historical fiction. This is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, and this is basically a retelling of Detroit Battle. Is it Detroit Battle? And there is a LGBTQ plus love story, so very intrigued. I have heard amazing reviews, so cannot wait to actually read it. Everyone has been talking about this book because the second one just came out, and sometimes with booktube, especially YA books, sometimes I feel like books are overhyped. I read them and I'm like, you know what, wasn't that crazy about it. But sometimes they are worth it, so that's always why I end up reading them. So this month I want to read The Truth Witch by Susan Dennard. Basically, in that fantasy world, people have magical powers. Some of them are more unique than other ones, and the main character is someone that can tell whenever someone is lying or not. So obviously people want to have her so they can actually use her, and that just sounds interesting to me. We shall see how it works. I know a lot of people were also saying there is a great friendships in there, and I love books where there's great friendships, especially female friendships. I feel like it's something that you need to see more, especially in YA books. So if you have any recommendation, again. I've been needing to read more nonfiction, which you will see in my next haul because there's quite a few. I have been wanting to read this one though. This is Brain on Fire by Susanna Callahan, and she's basically telling her own story. One day she wakes up at the hospital and she doesn't remember, I think it's just the last month of her life, and she has no memory of it. She just basically like went cuckoo. And I'm really intrigued to hear about it because they're just super fascinating. You don't hear this often, and it's pretty short, so why not? Last book that I'm planning on reading, I feel like usually I put more books in my TBR / read more than this in a month, but at the same time they're all so big that I'm scared that I'm not going to be able to read all of them, so I'm trying to control myself. So the last book that I'm hoping to read, which everyone's going to freak out, Illuminate by Amy Kaufman and Jake Kristoff. Sci-fi book, YA, everyone loves it. We shall see how I feel about it, and the whole story is all written in like emails, interviews, and things like that, so I'm hoping I'm gonna love this. I feel like a lot of people either really love it or really don't, so we'll see. I'm actually really busy this month. I'm gonna be doing a lot of traveling, so I might end up doing some audiobook type of reading, so we'll see how it goes. I'm either gonna read like everything and absolutely enjoy myself, or just completely fail and only read a couple, which I'm still going strong on my goal, Goodreads. If you don't follow me on Goodreads, I'll link it down below. My goal this year is to read 100 books, and so far I have read 26, and I'm sure as this video is going to be up, I'm going to be at 27, so everything's going super well, but will I be able to keep up? Because there's so many books I want to read that are really, really big. I don't know. So those are the books that I am planning on reading this month. Please feel free to leave in the comments any opinions without spoilers about these books or any of the books that you are planning on reading. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and to subscribe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.